So hello everyone, welcome to the Cyprus Short Film Day 2020, which this year takes place online. Cyprus Short Film Day, let's say that it's the official annual short film festival showcasing Cypriot filmmakers and cinema here in London, held usually and under normal circumstances at the beautiful Mayfair Theatre. I never imagined that we would be celebrating the 5th birthday of CSFD actually from our living rooms or anywhere you are, guys. However, I'm still very happy that we can actually pull this through, and even more so that we can bring together Cypriot filmmakers from London, from Cyprus. Alexandra, where are you?
I'm here.
Where? I mean, where?
I'm in Athens. I'm in Athens.
Oh, lovely.
Yes, from London, Cyprus, and Athens. So most importantly, CSFD this year is part of a bigger festival, the Cyprus at 60 online festival, organized by the Cyprus High Commission in the UK to celebrate the 60th anniversary of the independence and establishment of the Republic of Cyprus. So, happy birthday to Cyprus, and let's get on to the program of CSFD 2020 very quickly before introducing our guest filmmakers for today's panel. So, CSFD 2020 has two programs for you to enjoy. One is the 24-hour screening, and as you can imagine, you have 24 hours to watch 6 short films exclusive to the platform up until tomorrow midday. So I guess that makes for a very cozy night in, especially considering that here in London, guys, it's raining. So the second program is the Lockdown Collection with a selection of short films from previous editions of the CSFD, which you can enjoy up until the end of October. Our platform is culturalchc.co.uk/Cyprus at 60/CSFD 2020. I really wish I could show you a card here, but as you could witness, I'm really not good at this technological stuff. Many thanks to Katerina Batsalidou, actually, who is my colleague who is helping with all this technology that I'm not familiar with. However, it's much easier to find us on our social media, which is Cyprus in UK-culture, and of course the Facebook page of the Cyprus Short Film Day. This concludes my introduction. Now let's meet our panel. So, Antony Petru joining us from London, representing the film The Sound. Athena Mandis, again joining us from London, representing the film Southgate to Brighton. Pantelis Hapeshis, also from London, representing the film Happy Valentines. Alexandra Mattheou in Athens, representing the film Grief, or A Place None of Us Know Until We Reach It. And from Cyprus, Andreas Sheittanis, representing the film Fishbowl. Now, guys, I would like you to say a couple of things about yourself, introduce yourselves, and also the film you're representing at our online collections. And don't talk yet about your current or future films. We still have lots of time for that. So, Pantelis.
Hello, yes, hi guys. My name is Pantelis Hapeshis. My film is Happy Valentines. So what can I say about Happy Valentines? It was a film that I made a few years back that made it into festivals such as Drama in Greece and the Cyprus International Short Film Festival. It's a bit of a psychological thriller / horror film. Well, very, very mild horror. It's not like horror, but I'm not really big on horror, funny enough. When I made Happy Valentines, I thought I'll make something a bit different than what I would say naturally do. But it's still within the fantasy realm, and I'm very big on sci-fis and very big on the fantasy genre. It's about a Valentine's Day that ends up very peculiarly. or at least those who have watched it or will watch it, I hope, do feel that the ending is a rather in a strange way than what they were perhaps expecting. And that was the sort of feel behind it. Have I gone on too long here? Is that about right?
No. We will have plenty of time. You can waffle as much as you like.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Pantelis. Thank you. Amazing. Athena.
Hi everyone. So I'm here with Southgate to Brighton. It's a comedy that we screened, I think it was 3 years now, at the Cyprus Short Film Festival, and it did its rounds in Cyprus and in London and a few other festivals. It's a comedy, and it's starring Alexandra, who's also a writer and a performer himself, a comedian. Kyriakos Georgiou, who's also on this call with us today, is in the audience. Hi, Kyriakos. And Stevie Georgiou, 3 actors. I wrote it and directed it with Dinos Jakovidis. And what we really wanted to do is to root it in the London Cypriot community and cast it from our community and to tell our story. So we didn't want people who looked Greek, because it's interesting when you say that, you get all sorts. But we wanted Cypriots, and that was very important for us. And also that bicultural element of what we've grown up with. So language being both spoken like as we speak it at home, which is Gibrega, and English, and very bad Greek in many ways. But we wanted to celebrate that because we felt that that's us, and yeah, it's a comedy. So if you haven't seen it already, catch it. It's only about 15 minutes long, if that. Yeah, I think that's it, really. Can I just make a little plug here, actually? Kyriakos Georgiou, who was one of our actors and a talented filmmaker in his own right, is now starting the South London Film Festival. So they're going online this year. It's their first film festival. So do check it out. They're crowdfunding. And I'm sure Kyriakos will probably put something in the chat to check. But yeah, so that's very exciting to see. I think the ethos of the film has really grown as well. And I know we're sort of talking about making a feature, and, people are interested in seeing that. I think the comedy hit a note.
Yeah, I think comedies are always a very important part of a festival program. It's there are not many of them out there, so programmers are always wanting to program a comedy. And I remember that the audience really loved it, really enjoyed it on the day. So Kalispera, Spiros. Spiros is joining, and
no, he's gone.
And going away. So I don't know what's happening. We just missed him again. So I'll go to Alexandra.
Hi everyone. So my name is Alexandra Matheon. I'm the writer and director of Grief. It's screened in London, I think it was this time last year, pre-pandemic, or November, pre-pandemic and all. It's a short film about a mother and a daughter relationship and how they cope with loss. And it's a film I had the opportunity to shoot in Sicily over the span of 12 hours with 5 rolls of film. So it was quite an endeavor altogether, let us say. And it's starring Kika Georgiou and Themis Bazaka. And it was such a joy to be in London in person to screen it last year, but oh well.
We'll do it again. Let's do some positive thinking.
To better days.
Antony.
Hi. Hi everyone, my name's Antony, Petru, and I'm the director of the sound. I didn't write the sound, it was my first short film. I started off directing a feature film, so I kind of went backwards, but I really enjoyed it. It's a film about a young family on a secluded farm, and the mother starts hearing a strange sound that drives her to the brink, and it's mainly focusing on her daughter that really wants to believe that her mother isn't going crazy and there is actually a sound, and she starts investigating it. I really enjoyed making this film. I guess the most fun part of this film was looking at, because I didn't write the film, is kind of putting my take on how I thought the story panned out. And I spent a lot of time at the farm. I spent a week on the farm trying to understand how that young girl would feel. And I think it shows throughout the film, because it's quite a it's quite a surreal look at how the story develops, I think. If you haven't seen it, please check it out. Yeah, that's it.
It's a fantastic film. Fantastic.
It's been because I filmed it, I think, in 2018 or 2017. So it was quite a while ago now, and it's I don't know, it's done really well at the film festivals, but it's not. It has been nice, because last year it was screened at the short film festival at the Mayfair, and it was nice to watch it again. Yeah, on a big screen, it was really nice, and I got a lot of inspiration for working on short films because of that project. Otherwise, I don't think I would have got into the short film circuit so much if I didn't get that opportunity.
Thank you, Antony. Now, Andreas, Sheittanis, and the film Fishbowl. I think it was 2018 when you came to London.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I remember it was with Antony and Pantelis, but
2018.
Yeah, 2017.
18, yeah.
18.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, hi everyone. I wrote and directed Fishbowl. It's a film about that. It's about a man who's been forced to be in lockdown for a very long time, and we see how he deals with it mentally. He's just been living by himself for a very long time. And the interesting thing about this is that we actually shot this in 2017 before any of us had any real experience with being in lockdown and being in isolation. So yeah, during this pandemic, it was quite interesting to see how many things we got right, and how we actually would act in such a situation compared to what we describe in the film. So yeah, it was. I rewatched it during lockdown. I was like, oh yeah, that's. And unfortunately, we got a lot of things right. So yeah.
Yeah, it's fascinating how it when we originally screened it here, it was something like some sort of sci-fi film, and then suddenly it was prophetic, and unfortunately, it was,
yeah, it's no longer a sci-fi film. Yeah.
I can see that Spiros is having problems staying with us, and so he's joining, and then we're losing him again. So let's hope that at some point we'll be able to have him on board. So guys, let's talk about lockdown. Let's talk about the pandemic and how it has affected the film industry and the film festival scene, and how you guys feel about it. First of all, about the online festivals. What's your take on it? I would also suggest some in terms of housekeeping. Sorry. If you could mute yourselves and unmute when you are about to speak, because I have some background noise. Thank you. So Raise your hands if you have participated in an online festival. Okay, let's start from Andreas then. What was your experience, and how would you feel? How do you feel about it, and how would you do it again?
It depends. It's a very strange time right now, because like especially for bigger film festivals, the deal was we either do this online or we don't do it at all. So yeah, in that case, yeah, an online film festival is, you know, it's the best out of the better option out of the two really bad ones, I guess. But I wouldn't like this catching on. Like we already had, even before the pandemic, there were a lot of online festivals, especially if you go on Film Freeway. There's so many online festivals, and I would always avoid them, because I feel the whole point of a film festival is actually being there and talking to other people, talking to the audience, talking to other directors, filmmakers, the jury, making connections, seeing how the audience responds while they're watching your film, seeing your film on a big screen, which is quite a unique experience. If we lose all that, then I don't know. I'm really scared to think of a future without actual physical film festivals. I would really miss this experience. But at the time being, if it's either this or nothing, then yeah.
Okay, what about you guys? Antony?
I don't think. Oh, let me mute.
Would you premiere your new film at an online festival?
I think if I didn't have any other options, I would. Yes. I think the sound was at a festival online recently, actually, but it's coming to the end of its festival run, so I didn't feel too bad about that. But I think I would feel upset if my new film wasn't screened properly at a festival. I think, like Andreas said, you lose, because we met at a film festival, and I've met a lot of important friends and also co-producers now on a current project I met at film festivals, and I think that's the thing that I did like the best about actually attending the festivals, that you make connections with other filmmakers. Again, like Andreas said, you see the response from the audience. Also, I feel like the film festivals that have been online have been a bit clunky, and especially when they show the films at a particular time, you know, when you're at home or when you're working, you get distracted, so you're missing the films. I think I personally think that the online film festival should have something similar to your Netflix and Amazon, where you can actually go in and watch it when you're ready to watch it and when you're in the mood. But yeah, that's my thoughts on film festivals online. But yeah. Did you
Pantelis, how about you? How do you feel?
Yeah, I feel like we're probably going to have 5 very similar answers. But yeah, similarly, it's very nice to see the evolution of live streaming, of you know, platforms like Zoom, of, you know, where things are heading. COVID clearly has pushed these along to be sort of used worldwide more. It has its advantages. You know, you can do share screening and show something while you can't do that live. But yeah, you can never. It's okay as a plan B, but yeah, nothing beats live, being around people, the atmosphere, you know, being in drama and watching your films, then going for a drink after, and being out, breathing the air, you know, the celebration, you know, nothing beats that really. But it's certainly a good substitution. And yes, I'm sure things will go back to normality eventually, but we might have to wait a bit longer. But yeah, happy to be doing this. Yeah, very, very happy to be doing this.
Alexandra, how about your plans? I mean, do you have projects in the pipeline that you would not mind sharing online?
Well, the lockdown found me in post-production with my film, and we're right now almost done with it. And it was a question with friends and fellow filmmakers: what do you do? Do you consider 2020 a completely dead year in terms of festivals and that? And I guess one way of looking at it is to agree with Andreas and Antony that nothing substitutes the real presence in a festival. And the other is to kind of admire the industry's reflexes and its ability to persevere and say, okay, well, so long as this pandemic happens, we're still present, we're still going to showcase films. And if anything, it also gathers a larger audience. Now, would it be ideal for me to premiere my film online? I'm not sure. I would probably say no, but if it was the only option, then I would, yes, I'd make the best out of a bad situation and say, okay, a lot of people are actually going to have access to it, people that wouldn't normally get a chance to. So blessing in disguise, I guess, sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Athena, you also have some projects in the pipeline. So how do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because, like Alexandra, we had the same question. We just finished shooting just before lockdown, so all of post was through lockdown, and we're now just we're days away from like finishing the film. And we've been thinking, in a way, it's been a blessing that it's taken so long, because we don't want to be showcasing this film online. Because it's not just about the content, in the sense that the experience of seeing the film, and this one particularly, requires a big screen. And, you know, but if there's no other option, of course, you know, I think it's important to also support the fact that we are making work, and these festivals also need to exist and not go dark. And if that's our way of supporting that process, brilliant. But we're kind of hoping, and I'll be lying if I said that we weren't, that by the time that Losing Grace comes out, it will come out into festivals that are beginning to open. So we'll start submitting in October, take 6 months. By then, hopefully, things are a little bit better. But I mean, I agree with the guys. It's not just about getting your film in the festival. It's about the presence of you and the community of filmmakers and audience, and how that generates ideas, and however brilliant an online festival is, and however many meetings on Zoom that they organize, and all of that, it's not the same where, you know, you'll strike a relationship with someone and then 2-3 years down the line they become, you know, collaborator on your work, or vice versa, and that's the magic of festivals. But as filmmakers, we need them to move forward. It isn't just about an audience.
Absolutely, that's my feeling as well. I mean, I've experienced through Cyprus Short Film Day how many new collaborations actually came up because of this festival, having this this power to bring together Cypriot filmmakers from all over Europe, either based here in London or in Athens or in Cyprus, or even in New York, some of our filmmakers in the past. So inviting them over, forging new relationships, new collaborations, I think that's the spirit of a festival, and also for the audiences themselves to meet the filmmakers in person and ask them directly. And nothing, of course, can replace the physical event and the physicality of watching cinema in the theater on the big screen. However, as you guys said, one has to do what one to do. So that's why we are here on Zoom today. Now let's talk about filmmaking itself, and both thematically and formally. How has the pandemic potentially affected your own filmmaking, your own themes that you engage with, the form you use, production process? Did you have to make changes to your current projects to accommodate this historical moment, to make yourselves, to make the projects more relevant, let's say? Because I was discussing recently with the programmer, and he was telling me that next year, 2021, will be the year of the lockdown, will be the year of the pandemic. All festivals will have lockdown films, etc., etc. Do you agree with this? Do you feel that all the other issues are suddenly vanished, disappear? So what do you think? I will start. Yeah, Athena.
Only because we went into development at the beginning of lockdown, and then pre-development and pre-production and production all through lockdown on a project. So we shot a couple of weeks ago with another short in Plymouth, and it made us just make the film isn't about lockdown, and I'm personally tired of watching any lockdown films. I don't know about anyone else. For me, that's not interesting. I think there's a complex world out there. But it made us feel, actually, we can do this. We looked at the script. We did make slight changes in order to accommodate the reality of shooting in lockdown. But it didn't affect our thematic approach to the subject matter. But I think, and it was also interesting, I mean, I also teach filmmaking, and the students were all affected during lockdown. They literally, were just about to shoot, and then we went, sorry, we're all online now, and you can't go anywhere, and whatever. But their films were interesting because none of them were about lockdown. And yet this was at the heart of being really enclosed. I think only one referenced it in a comedic way. But it'll be interesting to see, in a year or 2 years' time, I think we need some distance, how these themes and how this impact on us is affecting how we speak to our work. I think at the moment we're still, I don't know, for me, I felt like, I've got other things to talk about as well.
Okay, Spiros is still trying to join our discussion. He's texting me on Messenger on Facebook that he really wants to participate. So let's hope that he will manage it. Hey, Spiro, can you hear us? Hi, Spiro, can you hear us?
Hello. Finally, I've done it. Sorry, but I have no connection. But I was in the audience, actually.
Yeah, I was trying to promote you into a panelist. Okay, guys, a slight pause here. So as to reintroduce Spiros. So Spiros is representing the film Forever Young, and he participated actually in the very first Cyprus Short Film Day back in 2016. It was at the Hellenic Center, our first one. But also Spiros was represented with the same film last year at the Encounters Film Festival in Bristol, which was the special focus on Cyprus. And I think Antony was also participating in that focus on Cyprus in Bristol, and that was the last time I think I saw you.
Also, Pan was as well, I think.
Pan's film, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Spiro, tell us about your film. And also the second question was that how you feel about the online festivals scene, and whether you would premiere your future project or your next project on an online festival.
Okay, my film, it's Forever Young. It's about the last night of work of a sexual worker, and the guy is losing his virginity for the first time. So it's a meeting night with the two persons. That it ends into a little musical. So this is the tricky, this is the bit unusual thing for ending a film. Now for the premiere for internet, yeah, this is really nice idea, and well, because of COVID as well. But yes, why not? It's it would be really nice to premiere a film through internet.
Okay, and so Spiros doesn't seem to have much of an issue with online festivals. He seems actually enjoying them. Back to our third question. So I'm going to remind our panelists. So the question was, how has the pandemic changed your filmmaking in terms of themes you engage with, in terms of the form you use, but also in terms of production? And would you be willing to make some readjustments to your current projects to accommodate this very big historical moment? So shall I go for Andreas?
Yeah. Sorry, the audio cut out for a bit. Do you say my name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So
yeah, I wasn't sure.
I was repeating the last question about whether you would be willing to do readjustments to your current
to
accommodate the crisis, the pandemic.
One of my biggest worries is something you mentioned before, is that in the next couple of years there will be an oversaturation of lockdown themed films in the film festivals. I think everyone is going to be doing lockdown related stuff, and I've been trying to avoid it for a few months now, and I will still try to avoid it, because I don't I think there's so many more things that we can talk about and discuss. Not everything has to be about lockdown. But another issue has arisen is that, well, I guess we'll talk about future projects later, but I was going to make a film that was about racism and terrorism. It was centered around terrorism. But the problem now is that terrorism seems such a small issue compared to the pandemic. So it's a problem about relevance now. So I do want to make I don't want to do something about the lockdown, because I feel that everyone's talking about that. But then if you do something about something else, is anyone going to listen? Is anyone going to care as much? I think that's the question that we would like to answer right now.
I think so.
You feel like it's overshadowing everything else. I mean, I think Athena said something that I really liked, and I picked it up, that it's a very complex world out there. So it's not like all our other problems or issues are suddenly erased. I don't know, Antony.
No, sorry. No,
yeah.
Definitely. I'm not saying that there are any other problems. That's what I'm saying. I want to talk about other problems. I don't know if film festivals would care about because the trend now is the lockdown. So it depends on whether there is an audience for other issues besides lockdown at the moment.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Perhaps that's our responsibility as filmmakers, as creatives, to actually turn the spotlight to other issues as well, to combine.
Yeah.
Yes, Alexandra, I felt that you needed to jump in. Yeah, go on.
I think in any case, the huge impact of the lockdown and the pandemic, if anything, it propels us to rethink of why we make films in general, because it's something that's bigger than fiction in a way. I wouldn't confine how we think about our next films in terms of themes, but more broadly on the level of what do we want to say with any film, regardless of its theme. Why do we make it? And I think the pandemic has reminded us of that once more. I mean, on a personal level, the themes I'm preoccupied with are kind of related to general existential angst, so in a way they're even more heightened around this time. But I personally wouldn't want to see a filmscape where all we see is lockdown films, and I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're more imaginative than that as a community, or at least I hope so.
Alexandra, I wanted to ask you, you've made a lockdown film, and if I am correct, it was not fiction, was not narrative. It was more like avant-garde, experimental. It had this sense of video art in it. So do you think that, and to the rest of the panel, do you feel that this was also a way to look at different directions in terms of the form?
I mean, the initiative for the lockdown film was the Ministry of Culture.
Yes.
Support scheme. So it started with a limitation of it being 3 minutes. So I decided I didn't want to tell a story within 3 minutes. I just wanted to try and capture as best as I could and as honestly as I could the feel of what it meant to be lockdown during those 5 weeks, 6 weeks we're on of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a more honest portrayal, at least from my end, to do that rather than come up with a story.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was fascinating. So let's just say for our audience that back in June, I think, so it was the Ministry of Culture, the Cultural Services of Cyprus. They had this competition, the COVID-19 films. And I think Antony also participated. I don't remember if you guys, okay, so most of you participated. So tell us about your lockdown film then, and how different it is from your other films. Antony?
Do you want me to talk about lockdown, or how things have changed for me during lockdown, or everything? Everything.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was working on a film. I was in pre-production for a short film that I had written, and then we went into lockdown. So I decided to make a short film because I've got two small children, and it was to kind of do something that I could do with my daughter who was 8 at the time. She's 9 now. So we wrote a short film together called A Girl, and then we shot the film during lockdown. It's just getting graded on Tuesday, so it will be finished. So it was really, I quite like working with small crews anyway. I like intimate crews and not too many actors, not too many locations. So I think it suits my filmmaking anyway. But I used the lockdown opportunity to make this short film, and I'm really proud of it. It has got a very subtle look at a very subtle lockdown theme, but it's more about how a small girl or a small child interprets the lockdown and the pandemic. And I know there will be lots of films about lockdown, and I was thinking this because I was speaking to Pan about it recently, actually, that we will have an influx of short films, all about lockdown and all about the pandemic. But I think the ones that are going to stand out are the ones that are take an interesting approach to it, and it's going to be around not for a long while still. So I think filmmakers, and in particular myself, I will be inspired by it to change their filmmaking techniques and also change their storytelling techniques as well. So I'm quite looking forward to watching people's interpretation of it. Of course, there is, like Athena said, there's a lot of other interesting subjects, but I'm quite interested at the moment to look at how people interpret the lockdown. And with the lockdown films that I participated as well for Cyprus, there was a lot of interesting films there. There was a lot of interesting takes on it, and I enjoyed it. Yeah, some that were not obvious at all, some that were, it was fun. I enjoyed it. And yeah, my film was very, again, my own experiences, having 2 children and having to entertain them, homeschool them, and I was inspired by that with my film.
And I think you shot it with your family. I mean,
yeah, just me, my wife, and my daughter on my drive in my car. So it was just us.
Yeah, I think I will never forget the frame with the glass of wine.
Okay. But it was exactly like that. It was tough.
Yeah.
I think the whole schooling side of things for me was very, very tough. And I, imagine I have got single parent friends that, that were living in flats and didn't have the luxury of a garden, and, it was tough, So yeah, I am really inspired by the lockdown in terms of storytelling and ideas. And actually tomorrow we're filming something with Pan that's lockdown inspired, another short film. But Pan, I'll let you talk about it. It's Pan's new film.
Great. We can't wait to hear. But for the lockdown films that you participated in the cultural services competition, Spiros, tell us about your project there.
My project, actually, the lockdown, it was very influence on me because we couldn't go out. We were staying home, and I was inspired by a poem of a friend of mine, actually a neighbor. So I said, let's get a try and make a home video for this theme. And I used some experimental footage that I had before, and I did some documentary actually shooting in a house. So it was a home video with my mobile. I edited it, and it was very personal actually, and I enjoyed it a lot because with no crew and no script, actually you can create something really creative in the period of the lockdown. Yeah.
Beautiful. Pantelis, about your lockdown film, not the
So I went a bit different to most people. So what I did is I tackled a parallel subject that still was, I think, linked to the lockdown. So what I did is we had a lot of the Black Lives Matter protests in London. So I dared and went out in the middle of thousands, tens of thousands of people in London, and I shot real footage of it, and people really, protesting with all their hearts, all their might against racism. And I filmed some really, really, you know, heart-driven material. And also I supported the cause. I wasn't just there for that, obviously. I supported BLM. A lot of people were telling me don't do it. I went and did it anyways. I wore a mask. We were outside. I think it was okay. I'm still standing, but yeah, so I did that as my sort of topic. And yeah, it was very interesting. And I almost hadn't actually done it. And I had another idea that was very direct to COVID and isolation, which is what Antony's talking about. And we're going to film tomorrow. I'm doing another short film tomorrow with a very minimal crew and very minimal cast, of course, in a very big house. So we're not in any danger or anything. But yeah, so mine was on my one was on Black Lives Matter, and I'm very grateful to the Cyprus Ministry of Education for awarding me with one of the 50 grants that they gave for it. And I think I need to do another cut of that, a slightly longer cut than 3 minutes, and make it something a bit different from it as well. So that's a bit overdue now. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very interesting to watch. Yeah. Andrea, did you make a lockdown film?
No, I didn't. I'm sorry.
You don't have to apologize. So let's Athena. No, you were like readjusting your current project. So
Made a normal film. Down.
Okay, let's talk about our current and future projects then. I will start from Andreas.
Okay. Well, currently I've got a film which is, well, it started its film festival circuit about a year ago at the Drama and Lebanon before that, a few days before that, which obviously that had to take a break for a while during this pandemic, while film festivals were trying to figure out how they were going to continue. But now we're back on it. It's doing much better than I expected, so I'm pretty happy about that. Future projects, well, I was actually about to make a film right before the pandemic. I was actually flying in two crew, my DOP, my director of photography, and my assistant director. They were flying from London to Cyprus to shoot my next short. And while they were on the air, the ministry in Cyprus announced that people traveling from England had to stay for a 14-day quarantine. So I was calling them like, don't board the plane, but they were already on the air. So as soon as they landed, we arranged for them to just go back. They returned to England. And so we had to postpone that shoot, and we still haven't gotten around to, well, we wanted to reschedule it for mid-September, but then the second wave came. And yeah, so it's been pretty hard, but we still want to make the film, but we want to see how the pandemic, what restrictions we're gonna have, whether we'll be able to fly from England, because well, things have been getting worse, unfortunately, there. So yeah, that was we were pretty unlucky with that. If we were to shoot it a week before, I would have a new film by now, but yeah, I was a bit unlucky.
Do you want to tell us a couple of words about what it's about, or do you want to say?
Yeah, like I said before, it was about racism, and it's about it doesn't have to do anything with Black Lives Matter. It's about how we tend to perceive other people based on appearances. And the story was basically, it was right after a terrorist attack, and we follow a family of Cypriots, and they encounter a person, and it's they were trying to decide where they can help him because he seems injured, and they don't know if they should help him or if he's one of the terrorists because he looks Arab, and that's the whole it's kind of a mind game, each person trying to figure the other one out to see if they're a good person or a terrorist or just based on appearances.
Okay, that sounds very interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next projects, guys. Who wants to go first? I think Pantelis, who is shooting tomorrow, and then we go to Spiros.
Yeah. So as I said, that was meant to be my original idea for the Cyprus grants, but yes, so it is about COVID. This is it's my next project, but it's a small project really. I have other ideas, but I'll tell you about this one. It's about an alien stuck on Earth because of COVID, so he can't fly back to his planet. So it's a mockumentary basically, and as I said, I love sci-fi, so I thought, how do I make in the genre I love, but make it current? So yeah, it's about Alan, who's an alien. He's stuck at his very good friend's house. They're a man and a woman, the married couple, very good friends of his. And the intergalactic airways have opened up again, and he's about to go back home. And they discuss how it's been living with him. He's basically endearing, but basically the most annoying person in the world, this alien, Alan. And we've got a 3.5-page script. We're going to improvise some stuff as well. I think it's going to be a lot of fun for our small cast and crew. And hopefully, we're going to shoot it well. So I have faith it will make some festivals, and it will be a bit different and more kind of bubbly and a bit more fun, because I think most COVID related things are going to be probably dramatic and serious, while this is a bit more relaxed and a bit more fun, and making fun of things, so I'm looking forward to that. And one of the biggest technical parts of it is that I'm actually going to play Alan. So I'm stepping into my first big role in a short film finally, which I've been waiting to do for a while. And we're going to have 2 makeup artists do a bold cap and a whole prosthetics application, which cost hundreds of pounds to actually buy. So I'm looking forward to that. Probably 5-hour makeup. I think that's going to be going to be interesting. Yeah, that's my next one.
Well done, guys. Good luck. Good luck with the shoot tomorrow. And it sounds a fascinating project. Spiro, tell us about your upcoming film.
Well, I just got funding from Earth Microfilm. It's called Gliko Triandafilo. It's rose dessert in English, and it's about the reconnection actually between a Turkish Cypriot and a Greek Cypriot woman that in 1974 they lost their families and they had this hate each other. So the Turkish Cypriot finds the opportunity and the strength to come over the Greek side and meet her old neighbor Maroula, and it's a very sensitive scene that they put everything behind, and they still trying to build their friendship again. So this is a short film. I probably shoot it in March if everything goes well, and with the other side as well on the Turkish Greeks Turkish side as well. And the other one, it's a feature film that I'm working on now. I'm on rewriting my first feature film. It's called Kino Kalo, and the COVID situation. I'm thinking a lot of it to take place in my film, but I'm not sure yet. I'm still working on it. because it's a very strong issue, and as a pandemic, it's like a conflict is coming above the people. So maybe, I don't know yet. I'm still working on it, but with the COVID situation, it took it a lot back. So this was the opportunity for me to rewrite again the script, and hopefully in summer, if everything goes well, we're gonna shoot the feature film as well.
Nice, amazing. Thank you, Spiro.
Yeah.
Athena, tell us about your projects.
Okay, so we shot just before lockdown with Losing Grace, which is a short film about domestic abuse or fleeing domestic abuse. So we don't see any domestic abuse. We shot that on the Isle of Man, which was really interesting because at the time, it was literally like 2 weeks before we went into lockdown, but then no one was talking about it. We came back and everyone was talking about it. It was like we'd been taken away by aliens, and sort of the world had changed when we returned from our shoot. And so that's now just nearly been finished. So that's going to start its festival run, wherever that festival run looks like, whether that's on online or in person, hopefully. And then we also shot a few weeks ago another drama, about another short drama to do with going back to look for your birth parent. So this was a script written by a writer called Joe Harper, and I directed it. And we had, because we decided to shoot, I mean, in a way, it's like what Andreas was saying, there's such a small window when you can go, and if you don't go then, it closes again. And we went in that small window. We're very lucky that we located, you know, in that sort of mid-September, just before things got really crazy. We had a very small crew. We had a COVID officer on site who was responsible for temperatures and, you know, masks, and, you know, we had everything in place so we could be as safe as we could. And what was interesting was that we had, I think with a small a small crew, an independent short film, meant that you were quite agile. So we could actually respond to situations quite quickly. And we'd all done the development on it, so we were all ready. It's a nice 2.5 day shoot. But we cast that through lockdown, and we developed it, and we did all the discussions. So the first time we all got together, and for a lot of people meeting anyone, was actually when we turned up on set. I'll tell you the one good thing, if anyone's thinking of shooting outside of their hometown, is that a lot of venues now obviously don't have weddings. I mean, we ended up staying in the most amazing house just outside Plymouth, like these beautiful, you know, it would like be 350 quid a night. But they just said, what's your budget? We went, not a lot. They went, okay, we'll have that, not a lot. And we were the only guests in this beautiful house. They fed us, they looked after us. I was in the bridal suite. I didn't even have one when I got married, let alone now. So it was so amazing. So that was a positive for us, obviously, for this hotel struggling because they haven't got weddings. But, you know, they're also going, well, actually, now what we need to think about how we're going to adjust. And do you want to make a film here? We'll do you a really good deal. So we've got this amazing house to make a feature as well. So that's something we're going to play around with. And there's a feature that I've got in development, which got shortlisted by Sundance. So it's the one set in Cyprus called Xenos. And I've just begun casting it now. So we've got 2 of the leads already cast and the composer as well. So that's another exciting thing that's happened during lockdown. I think it's like what Alexandra was saying, that it's made us think about what's important, what is it we're trying to say with our work, you know, and I think the lockdown has allowed that focus to go, actually this story is important to you know, I do need to tell this story, and therefore I'm going to have to work a little bit more, I don't know, I have to work differently, but I still need to get the story out. because if it's not important, is it worth putting people under any risk? So that sense has been a really interesting element of it. And so daughter has now finished, and we're started post this Monday just gone. I delivered the rushes, and so that will be coming out soon as well. So it's been a really exciting time in terms of new work.
Great. That sounded like a very productive period for you, actually. Very creative. Amazing. Good. Alexandra, you also have a question here. We haven't started the Q&A yet, but I've come a question. I have a question from Virginia Woolf. What was your source of inspiration, and what drew you to my work in your work? So you can answer both, please.
Okay, if I think I'm suspecting which of my friends this one is, because in my lockdown film, the film begins with Mary Now, who's the actress who's in it, trying to reach Virginia Woolf on FaceTime.
Okay.
So I think that's my friend playing a nice little joke on me. But Virginia Woolf definitely an influence to answer this properly. But to go back to your question, I think what I'm most looking forward to is writing, because I haven't done any writing since forever. I mean, the lockdown was wonderful for me in terms of getting reading done, watching stuff, but completely, I don't know about the rest of you guys, but creatively, it was very difficult to get any work done. Then I was working on finishing the film, so at least that's almost out of the way. But what I'm really looking forward to is getting in front of my computer and writing. I'm developing a TV series at the moment with a production company here in Greece, and also just started working on a new idea for a feature. So
that's great.
I feel in a way this winter is going to be a great time to develop stuff. I wish I could go on location and shoot something, but right now it feels like developing stuff is also a good call.
Well, at least very positive that you feel creative, that you're back on track, and you'll be able to write now.
Hopefully.
Antony, tell us about your current, upcoming, future.
Okay. So I shot A Girl during lockdown, which was written by myself and my daughter. It's about a 7-year-old girl that wakes up at home and her parents are not around. So it's what a little girl will do on her own at home. As the day progresses, she starts to panic a little bit more, and then she falls asleep. The next day she wakes up and decides to go outside, and no one's around, so everyone's vanished. So she then wanders round. I shot it in Margate, so it's during lockdown, so it was completely empty, and the sea. And then she falls asleep, has a weird dream, and then rushes back home, and then discovers something. I won't spoil it, and. So I really enjoyed doing that because it was my daughter's acts in it and also wrote it with me. It's very intimate. Her performance is great, blew me away. Yeah, so that's called A Girl. We finished that on Tuesday. I've also started an animation called Project Our Cinema, which is a cross between Cinema Paradiso and Night in the Museum. It's an animation, 2 children, and it looks at dementia, and it's about two children that get locked in a cinema, and then some magical stuff happens. I won't spoil it again, but we started that, and I also did a documentary that is going to air on Sunday. No, when's it airing? Yes. On the 6th, on Tuesday, a documentary called Roots of Our Father that was sponsored by the Cyprus High Commission. and it's a look at some of the 3 first-generation Cypriots that arrived in the UK, talk about some stories, some interesting stories that happened to them. So that's finished and it's on Tuesday. And I'm also working on another short film called Paint Me a Lie, which is about an experience that happened to me growing up in the 80s in North London. And it's a look at prejudice. It looks at all forms of prejudice, but in particular, it focuses on one that is like, it's one that not many people understand yet, and one that's very personal to me. Yeah, and it's a very personal story, a true story, and we started pre-production on that, and I'm hoping to start filming that at the beginning of 2021.
Great.
Yes, so key project.
Okay, I'm speechless. You all guys seem to be extremely busy. You're facing extremely busy and creative days ahead, lockdown or not lockdown. Yes, I will echo Antony and say that the Cyprus High Commission has actually commissioned Antony to do this short documentary about first generation immigrants to Cypriot immigrants to the UK, and this documentary is titled Roots of Our Fathers, and will be available on the Cyprus at 60 platform on Tuesday, and it is part of the special tribute to the Cypriot community in the United Kingdom. Thank you, Antony, for pulling this through with that very small commission that we could actually give.
Thank you, because it inspired me. It was, it was
good. So guys, we need to wrap up. I have actually a surprise. So Kyriakos Georgiou, another UK Cypriot filmmaker who is joining us, who is here joining us on the Zoom discussion. So basically, he's one of the organizers of the South London Film Festival, and he is offering us a discount code to for anyone watching Cyprus Short Film Day today, and the code is actually very simple: CSFD 2020, and you can use this code to enjoy the program of the South London Film Festival. And thank you very much, Kyriako, and congratulations for your initiative for this new film festival. I think it's the first year. It's beginning this year, this new film festival, and yeah, best of luck. So guys, thank you very, very much for joining me on this panel today. We have recorded it and we will upload it on our website, hopefully on our YouTube channel and our Facebook page. So many thanks to all the filmmakers on the panel today. Thanks to our audience on Zoom, to my colleague Katerina Patsalidou. I would like to say that Cyprus at 60 goes live again tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. featuring the State Theatre of Cyprus, THOC. So the Theatre Organization of Cyprus tomorrow will offer us a glance into the rehearsals of the new production Aristophanes in a nutshell. So you can watch it live tomorrow at 11 a.m. From our platform, culturalchc.co.uk/Cyprus at 60. That's all for today. Enjoy the rest of your evening, everyone, the audience, the panelists, the filmmakers, everyone. Thank you for being with us today. And
thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really, really hope that next year we will be able to meet cinema theater. Yeah?
Yes.
and the new projects added. Kisses to everyone. Bye bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.